Hi there. My name is Dr. Diallo, an academic coach at a local elementary school here in Florida, where I have over 25 years of teaching and testing experience. Are you currently preparing to take the FTCE preschool education birth to age 4 with testing code 007 assessment? Well, if so, then you've come to the right place, and I'm so glad that you're here. It also covers the subtopic of knowledge of early childhood foundations, standards, and professional practices. I'm excited to share with you several of these sample test questions, along with answer choices and explanations about each choice. Let's go ahead and get started. When a preschool student uses the correct words in a sentence, their teacher provides positive reinforcement through offering praise. When the student uses incorrect words in a sentence, the teacher often corrects them. Through this type of repetition and reinforcement, the child learns to associate certain words and phrases with specific outcomes. This would be considered an example of the interactionist perspective of language acquisition, the innatist perspective of language acquisition, the cognitive perspective of language acquisition, or the behaviorist perspective of language acquisition. The first choice, the interactionist perspective, basically deals with the individual interactions in societal situations. So this could possibly be the answer. However, let's look at the other choices. The next choice, the innatist perspective of language acquisition, deals with language and skills that we are born with. Our innate ability is all about what we are born with, not how society has shaped our behaviors. So this definitely would not be the best choice. The third choice, the cognitive perspective of language acquisition, basically deals with the internal understanding and how a person processes, thinks, and solves as well as perceives problems or situations. So this would not necessarily be the best choice. The final choice, the behaviorist perspective of language acquisition, could definitely be the choice, and here's why. The behaviorist perspective of language acquisition contends that a preschool teacher can reinforce language development through teaching a student to associate a particular behavior with a specific outcome. In this particular scenario, the teacher is using praise to teach a student to associate correct grammar with praise. Keep in mind, too, that when we're answering these questions, we must make sure that we are looking for keywords in the question. So we're looking for repetition and reinforcement, as well as the association of certain words and phrases with the specific outcomes. So knowing all of this, the best choice for this question would be the behaviorist perspective of language acquisition. Problem number 2 says, what was the first federal law that required schools to assess students and to place standards for students to pass? So the keywords in this question are going to be the first federal law. Notice it doesn't say state law, but federal, that required schools to assess students and to place standards for all students to pass. So these are the keywords in the question. Let's take a look at our answer choices. We have Goals 2000, Education for All Handicapped Children Act, No Child Left Behind Act of 2001, and Child Find. Well, Goals 2000 primarily aimed to set new high standards and improve student achievement around the nation. So this could be it, but let's be sure to look at the other choices. Education for All Handicapped Children Act basically ensured a fair and equal education for all students regardless of disabilities or any handicap. So this is not necessarily focusing on the keywords that we've highlighted in the question. Let's look at choice 3. The No Child Left Behind Act of 2001 focused on assessment, standards, and accountability. The schools were given Title I funding so that they could help their students do well on standards-based assessments. So this was definitely a bill that was focused on making sure that the students were successful and that they passed. So this could very well be the best choice. But let's look at the final selection. Child Find. Child Find is a program that's offered by fiddlers in Florida only. And this basically provides diagnostic screenings, placements, and trainings to support the parents of students that could be at risk. So this is not a federal program and definitely would not be the best choice. Therefore, the best choice for this particular question is going to be the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001. Problem number 3 says, which of the following best describes the role of a school in creating a respectful learning environment? So keywords in this question are going to be the role of the school and creating a respectful learning environment. Those are the things we really want to focus on for this question. The first choice, allowing students a role in choosing what and how they learn, could definitely be a good choice because, again, you're giving that freedom of choice to the student and you're allowing the student to decide what is the best way for them to learn and demonstrate their respect for other students. This also helps show that administrators take their students' concerns and their opinions seriously, and it can lead to the development of a more productive learning environment. So this sounds like a great choice, but we always want to read the other choices before we select an answer. Allowing students free rein to determine school rules. We don't necessarily want to give students free rein to determine school rules because that may not be the safest or smartest way in order to maintain a respectful learning environment. So this is probably not the best choice. The third choice, enforcing punitive disciplinary measures indiscriminately. Although sometimes the negative consequences work, we are definitely looking at a time in history when we're wanting to focus more on positive reward systems instead of negative and punitive. Plus, it's not always seen as the respectful choice. So that's definitely not going to be the best answer. What about considering student needs as a group as opposed to individuals? Well, when we think about creating a respectful learning environment, we must look deeper than the group and focus on individual students. So that's definitely not going to be the best choice. Therefore, the best choice for this question is going to be allowing students a role in choosing what and how they learn. Problem 4 says, a preschool teacher meets with their students on a monthly basis to share their progress, areas they are struggling in, and discuss strategies for improvements. The teacher provides feedback and reports to parents, encourages students' efforts, and offers additional resources when needed. Through this process, students and parents are able to track their progress and stay motivated to achieve their goals. Which of the following reporting methods is the teacher using with her students? Answer choices are summative documentation, formative communication, casual documentation, and standardized documentation. So let's see if we can find a few keywords in the question. The first word that I noticed that's important is going to be monthly basis. Okay, meeting with them on a monthly basis is a pretty ongoing, frequent thing. So this is definitely going to be something we need to pay attention to. The teacher is going to provide areas that they're struggling with and discuss strategies for improvement. So we're looking at something long-term that can help on a short period basis. The teacher is going to be providing this feedback and is going to report to parents and the student to discuss ways to improve and to offer additional resources when needed. Okay, so when we think about those keywords that we've highlighted in the question, now let's take a look at our choices. Summative documentation is more like a summary over an extended amount of time to sum up the most important things. So this could be it, but let's look at the other choices. This definitely may not be it because it's talking about documentation. And in our question, we're talking about having conversations with parents. So let's look at the next choice. Formative communication. When a teacher communicates progress to both the student and the parent on a regular basis, instead of at the end of a marking period, then this is called a formative education reporting method. In this scenario, the teacher is communicating with students and with parents on a monthly basis about the students' progress, including what they are struggling with and their strategies to improve. So this sounds like a very possible choice. However, let's look at the other two. Casual documentation would just be note-taking that the teacher does without actually reporting to anyone, but more like a note-taking that she would do just for her reference to refer back to. Casual documentation would not be the best choice. And finally, standardized documentation are just documents that you do along the way to take notes. However, it doesn't mention anything about communicating that information to the student or the parents. Therefore, the best choice for this question is formative communication. Well, I hope that you found this video to be helpful. Be sure to check out more videos on this channel. Please remember to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any more of these awesome video and opportunities. You can also get a lot of help from our website at study.com. As a member, you can access short, targeted video lessons, extra study materials, personalized study plans, and hundreds of practice problems. We'd love to hear your feedback and your experience, so please be sure, tell us what you think. We're wishing you all the very best of luck. Good luck on that test.